Hey everyone, and welcome to the first episode of The Main Ingredient. This was a mini series that we created as part of Recipe for Success. I'm your host, Laurie Sallarulo, the President and CEO of Junior Achievement of South Florida. And we truly believe that everyone has a recipe for success and that there's typically one ingredient that stands out above the rest. And so we're going to find out those ingredients during this series. You know, at the end of every episode of Recipe for Success, if you've watched us, you know that we always ask for someone's main ingredient. And so those have been so interesting to hear. And in this series, we're going to delve deeper into those main ingredients. Today, our guest is Alan Garcia. Alan is the Boca Raton Managing Partner and U.S. Central TMT Assurance Leader with Ernst Young. And so we are pleased to introduce him. And now I am going to see if technologically I can add him to our call. And there we are. Can you see me?
Yes, I can, Laurie. Good morning.
Alan, I can see you. There you are. Welcome to The Main Ingredient.
Glad to be here in this new virtual world we're in currently. So happy to be part of the series.
You know, I think it's interesting. I think being in this virtual world is bittersweet, right? I think it's exciting to be learning new things and to be doing new things and communicating like this. I mean, who would have thought we could do this, right? A few years ago. But I think there's also some fear and challenge to it, right? Because change is never easy. Talk a little bit about that for you personally as well as for your team.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Laurie. You know, one of the good things about at EY is most of our professionals are actually very young. So the average age of our workforce is about 28. So the pivot to this virtual work style has gone actually pretty well. And a lot of the ideas that are coming in to our firm are from our younger folks on how to manage and cope in this environment. Obviously, there's a lot of stress with our young folks, given the uncertainty going around with COVID-19. But our teams have responded, resiliently. Things such as virtual happy hours or check-ins on Fridays. We're doing all sorts of interesting things to really manage and cope while continuing to run our business, serve our clients, and make sure that we're operating, well in this environment.
Yeah. Were you was Ernst Young already in the virtual world in that space, or was this something brand new that people had to navigate?
Yeah, no, luckily our firm had already invested a lot in technology infrastructure. So we already had a lot of tools in place that we could work remotely. In fact, one of the things that our firm was encouraging was a lot of flexibility for our people. So, we have a lot of working moms or parents that need to work from home certain days of the week, and our technology and platforms had already been developed to support that type of environment. The challenge, frankly, has been when we decided as a firm 2 weeks ago to go to a full work from home strategy to support the containment of the virus. It did put a lot of stress on our infrastructure. Because we were meant to operate maybe at a 30-40%, not 100% work from home, but our IT teams have done a really great job in making the investments. And so right now, knock on wood, everything is working very well. We're using Microsoft Teams. Some folks are using Zoom, and then a lot of our business systems that support the work we do in audit and tax are actually in the cloud. So we've been able to continue to run our business. Sure, there's been disruptions, as there's been disruptions in our clients, but for the most part, we're continuing to operate our business and support our clients.
Yeah. We I think you're aware, we do a weekly podcast and video show called Recipe for Success. And I know you were supposed to be out at J World today doing this. And that's why we wanted to keep this going, because this is such an unusual time for all of us. But I truly believe that sometimes we don't even realize that there really is a recipe to this, right? And when I speak with our guests every week, when you put it all down on paper, which is what we typically do, we put all their ingredients on a board, at the end of it, they're truly amazed because they go, wow, I didn't even realize that was my recipe, right? Because they're doing little bits and pieces. And at the end of every session, we ask them, what is your main ingredient? What is the one ingredient that you believe has made you and your company successful? And so today, my question is that, the first question is that, but the second part is, through this difficult, right, more challenging, different time that we're going through, has that been the same ingredient, right, as you would have said, maybe 6 months ago or before this ever happened?
Sure. No, great question. So for me personally, my secret main ingredient is hard work. So that was really informed on me from a very young age. I'm a first generation American. My parents came over from Cuba in the 60s after the Castro communist regime took over there. And so they really came with a mindset of really working hard, that was the key to success in America. And so they struggled early on, and that was informed on me and my brother and sister very, very early on in our formative years. And that has carried forward through going to college and then into my work life. So for me personally, feeling that I'm always contributing, working hard, and not taking anything for granted, that's always been my beacon and what I hold on to make sure that's driven sort of my success. Now, in terms of our firm and more recently what's happened, I would say it's resiliency and ability to adapt. So many folks think of as an accounting firm as really stodgy, but the way that we've reacted and been able to adapt our work styles, the way our people have adapted how they interact, how we're interacting with our clients, is truly extraordinary. And I know that's going on all over the country. Restaurants are shifting to takeout orders and drive-throughs, and so I think it's that kind of resiliency that will help us get through this crisis, and we'll come out stronger at the other end.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I just did a video yesterday about, when we go through a storm, right? We sit and we just wait for the storm to pass. But I always say that the other option is to learn how to dance in the rain. So, looking at the brighter side, I do think you're right. Now, I do think we're going to come out an extremely changed individuals, right? The way we communicate, the way we learn, the way we put out information, all of it is going to change. Even how we interact with each other. I am Italian and Spanish. You can see by my hand movements. And so this is really going to be a struggle for me because I know I'm a hugger and a kisser. And so, we're going to have to be very conscious of that, I think, going forward. At least I think we will for quite some time. And I think as organizations, this has changed the way we do business. And I'm not sure that it'll ever go completely back to the way it was. I think we'll find a settling place, right, where we'll find that happy medium. And I agree with you, resiliency is going to be, I think, as individuals as well as companies, is what's going to get us through these types of times. You probably all are dealing with and being bombarded by questions right now from your clients about, what do I do? Do I apply for these loans? There's so much information out there. I know my head is spinning as the CEO of the company to try to figure out what's best, what should we apply for, how should we best handle this and all of that. And so are you seeing that? Are you seeing that you're getting that inundated with people just wanting information and to help guide them through this?
Yeah, for sure. And, again, our firm is really global and we work in all sorts of industries. So obviously there's certain industries that are being more impacted than others. But our firm is hosting several webcasts for our clients and friends of the firm. And they're focused at different stages of businesses. So the webcasts are there to provide awareness and provide some insights about the CARES Act and the help that's available to companies as part of that large stimulus package. So yes, for sure, we're proactively reaching out to our clients, and we're also fielding questions. Obviously some of our clients' businesses, for instance, the aviation industry, the hospitality industry has been very severely impacted. And so we have clients in those industries as well. But we for sure are hearing a lot from our clients, and they're reaching out to us for advice and information.
Yeah, I would bet. I know we're reaching out to lots of different people, and right now some of the information is not consistent, right? So we're trying to make sure that we're making decisions with the right information. Let's go back to resiliency just for a second before we end, and talk a little bit about that. You talked about adaptability, right? Being able to adjust to new ways of doing things, or new approaches, or new rules, or whatever it might be. Are you finding that most of your people, I think this is when, at times like this, it separates those who are willing and able to adapt, right, and to be resilient, and then those that, may be resisting those changes. So I know for myself as a CEO, sometimes I'm trying to get our team to see that we need to change the way we're doing things, even before this, not in a storm. And there's always that little bit of pushback and that little bit of resistance to change. No, we're too busy to change it. No, this is the way we do it. But yet now I'm seeing those people embrace it. And there are some that are still not embracing it. But I think that's always been one of my challenges as a leader. Can you talk a little bit about that, how you're dealing with your team and making sure that they come along and they're adaptable? And what do you do if they're not?
Yeah, so it's a great question. Yeah, unfortunately, though, when a crisis hits, that's usually when people become amenable and open to change. So the analogy I used with my folks, and again, our workforce is really young, and they were probably toddlers when 9/11 happened. But if you think back after 9/11, in the couple of years after 9/11, folks were afraid to fly. Folks were afraid to go to large events for fear of a potential terrorist attack. So it's not that unusual or not that different from what we're experiencing now, right? There's a lot of fear about getting together in groups. There's a fear of flying, but it took a few years, and we did have to change, right? We had more stringent security measures that we all had to get used to. There was some changes to our freedoms that we had to get used to, and I think that's what's going to happen now. I think we're going to pivot to a different way of life, but I think at the end of the day, I think it'll take 2 to 3 years that eventually we will adjust to that new way of life, but it'll still be grounded in our American freedoms and our sense of being humans and having that interaction, that human interaction. So, I'm positive on that outlook, and I'm supportive of that. And so, in terms of how our people change, luckily our organization, most folks have come along. And for those that don't change, I think they're going to be left behind. And so as leaders, it's on us just to, demonstrate and lead by example, and hopefully those folks will come along.
Yeah, absolutely. Great answer. And you're right. It's helping them to come along, hopefully, right? And
Yep.
and as long as they're coachable and they're open, hopefully we can bring them along. So I just want to say thank you for being here with us, with me today in my kitchen.
Yeah, very nice.
We're in the JA World kitchen. And I have been actually doing a lot of cooking in this kitchen, more so than probably since I lived in this house, which is 15 years. I want to thank Ernst Young, major partner of junior achievement on a local level as well as a national level. And we've always had involvement. You all have a storefront at JA World, which I know you were going to come out to see. And so we thank you for that, and we're appreciative of your continued support through this. And thank you for the words of wisdom, your individual main ingredient, hard work. And I'm sure that you're continuing to do that through this storm, as we call it. But then dancing, right? Learning to dance in the rain, and that resiliency and that adaptability. And so thank you for sharing that with us today. I look forward to having you out at JA World as soon as this is over, and getting to meet you in person. But this has been wonderful to talk with you today. And thanks so much for being a guest on our main ingredient series. So thanks again, Alan.
My pleasure, Laurie. Be well.
You too. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye. And bye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on next episode of Main Ingredient. Take care, everyone, of yourselves, your friends, your family, your teams, and your neighbors. Take care.